Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into Rhetorically Speaking. I almost dropped the name of the podcast. Hashtag you good, man. I got to do another one of those episodes. It's been too long. I guess maybe because I've been putting a lot of work and a lot of effort into this here live daily digital show. Shout out to the people who are watching on YouTube, Facebook Live at Quantify LLC. Especially if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm sure you're most high, whether it's Jesus, Allah, Buddha, or agnostic or an atheist, whoever it is you believe in or don't believe in, they gonna appreciate it. And if not, just know I appreciate it. Today is March 30th, day 77, 94, 212 of quarantine life, shelter in place life. Listen, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is one of those days where I'm a little frustrated, right? While I'm in here living my shelter in place best life, I just noticed that my will got broken into. I get that maybe it's my fault because I live in the Northeast and I notice a big opioid epidemic, right? So they going around breaking in cars, not really taking nothing valuable, right? Like I had a $200 belt just sitting there, and I'm not one of the Gucci or Louis Vuitton type of joints. This is a weightlifting belt. But if they had known something about it, they would have took that. They did take my T-shirt merch, but I try to look on the bright side of everything and recognize that you know what, this just means I got to put this print heating press that I purchased probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago to good use. Again, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Probably disappointed. Like, yo, we supposed to be shelter in place. We supposed to be chilling. Meanwhile, y'all out here going in people cars. It ain't no COVID test in there. I don't know what they was trying to get. They did get some change. Again, they got some of my T-shirt merch. But again, it's like you just got to look on the bright side of things, man. I just honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I hope they ain't like leave COVID like in my will. Like I hope they not like ill or something, and they in there and just start coughing on everything. I might be more upset about that as opposed to whatever it is that they took from me. So, but listen, man, I digress. It's just one of them days. It's just one of them days. Here we go. We have a late comer to the party, right? We got a late comer who. Give me 1 second, man, so I can get everything together.
Oh,
Boys don't know what being on time means. Mute your mic for a minute, man, while I get this visual together. We gonna get this visual together.
we leading by example, by the way. But all right.
Listen, man, I don't know. So you got practice, right? It's practice, like AI said. AI said, "Listen, man, why I'm gonna go to practice? Well, I can show up late. I get it, right? But game time is game time, man. AI was there all on point all the time during
you got
game
you got your
time.
hair you got your hair did and everything. Look at you.
Listen, man, can I get through my intro, brother? You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get through my intro. Talk to me, Kyle. Hit him
All
up
right.
on the other side, man. We gotta have a business meeting. But nah, this is what happens with hashtag You Good Man Men's Wellness Group, right? That I've held now for the last 18 months. We get brothers who come on time. We get brothers who might come in a little late. But as long as they show up, that's all what it is. Because ultimately, it's for them. The conversation is about them. And so, Angelo coming in at this time. Listen, it's all good, man. That's how we gonna spin it, right? Again, I'm a social worker, so we got to look at it from a strengths based perspective. Because you could be like our other homie Zane, who's just not here at all. He no call. He called no call, no show. So just mute your mic for 1 second, Angela,
All right. All right.
while I try to put this thing together, and just bear with us for 1 second as I try to maneuver how to rock with this Zoom thing. Y'all might see my face twice, right? Because we're gonna fill up these four squares so we could better see it. Again, we want a better visual experience for the people. So in the meantime, listen, this COVID this COVID thing has been like unbelievably real. You know what I mean? This COVID thing has been unbelievably real, and it's only getting worse. Oh, here now he wants to show up as I come in with the four. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about the hashtag You Good Man Men's Wellness Group. We have Mr. Zane Booker in the building. No need for introduction. Mute your mic while I finish doing my introduction, please, good brother, to the people. Right. So again, you tell black folk 8 o'clock, and black folk gonna be 8:10, 8:30, or what have you. But again, we adjust, we adapt, because that is just what we do. Um, Matter of fact, give us 1 second. Be right back. And so we are back. Clearly, again, I'm the only one ready. This is wild, right? You got boys putting t-shirts on. You got some people eating. Shout out to Cobbiner, right? This is what teachers do in school. I know some of you parents who might be watching, right? This is what parents do in school. They don't say nothing about the other behaviors, right? And this is just a strategy. You want to highlight 2027 of being shelter in place. I know I'm tired of it. I know today was one of those days where I'm just sitting there in the crib, frustrated, bored, upset, mad, just going through this whole range of emotions, because this is what happens when you're quarantined, when you really don't have um you're not able to be connected with others in a physical way. Now we know that we can be interconnected like we are on Zoom, right? But there is something to be said about just being in close physical proximity with another person. And then the unknown is causes a lot of us to feel those feelings of anxiety, those feelings of fear, or what have you. It just came down today, well, yesterday, from y'all president. They're keeping they're enforcing the social distancing and all the protective measures that they have in place for COVID-19 until April 30th. For those who are here in Philadelphia, again, April 30th is the date where all all non-essential businesses are closed, shelter in place. So you're only quote unquote allowed to go outside if you're essential personnel, and there's a slew of businesses that are considered essential personnel. If you have to go food shopping, or if you go exercising. Now, I went exercising on Sunday, and it was like it was like 100 people outside, and I was literally just running by, bumping into people because it was just so many people, and I'm like, wait, like I'm trying to be in my exercise bag. I don't know what y'all trying to do, right? Especially it was like families of like 5 and 6 and groups of like 10, just all lounging, busting it up with each other on Martin Luther King Drive. Now I'm not going to talk about their complexion because that's just not the person that I am. But they were white, right? So I'm just going to say that because that's just how it goes in these days, in the day and age. But today's episode is going to be one where give you a glimpse into what one of the hashtag You Good Man Men's Wellness Group sessions look like. Like I said before, again, it's been running for 18 months. It's a safe space for people who identify as men, whether you're cis male, whether you're trans male, doesn't matter. We come and we have a healthy conversation to push the the envelope as far as critical thinking. That's really what it is, because I firmly believe that the more critical we think, the better off we'll be as a society, right? Because when you do studies about racism and what have you, often it was just about a lack of exposure, right? My daddy thought this way. My mama thought this way. I don't know why I had like a southern accent when I was doing it, but when people are exposed to other cultures, to other people, to other ways of thinking, uh, they're more enlightened. Now, whether they take that information, they're going to do what they want with it. But again, I firmly believe that the more we can think critically, the better off we'll be. And so I brought together four gentlemen who who were they were for the most part regulars at the group. You know, we had some shout out to Young Library. You know, I know he's probably tuned in. He's been a regular too. It's a lot of regulars. Mr. Carlton, he sent me a letter in the mail saying, "Yo, you changed your number on you." Now, one thing about Carlton, Carlton is about 75 years old. So he wrote a postcard and said, "Dag, Dr. Phil, you ducking me." Only something an old head would do, right? Only something old. But no, these brothers come and show up and they offer valuable insight and input. And then when I ended up having my the radio show that I was on for about a month, 6 weeks, the lounge, they would come in on a Monday and they would just offer their viewpoint. We would just have that open and honest discussion like we tend to do in the group. So it's only right for me to have them here so you can all see what it is that we do on a bi-weekly basis. Hopefully once this quarantine is over. I don't foresee it being over no time soon. However, when it is over, feel free to come through. If you know a man, young man, old, young, in between, doesn't matter. They can come through and engage in this conversation. So I will now introduce the four who will be participating, including myself. So I am Phillip Roundtree, the host, the moderator, the one that was definitely on time tonight, right? Again, like I said, Angelo and Zane, we talking about practice, right? So I might not have been on for the pre prep for the for the pre production yesterday. That's practice. Right now, it's game time. You know, so we have Mr. Zane Booker in the building. He is an American Negro, a dancer,
Hello. Hello.
dancer, scholar, just a good dude, a good dude, somebody who forces me to think past my level of comfort. We have Mr. Angelo Goodwin in the building. He is a real estate investor. We have Mr. Kabana Frempong, founder of. Is somebody on? I hear something. Somebody on the phone or something, or playing something.
Oh yeah, that's me.
and comes from the man, the videographer, right? This comes from the videographer playing it in the background. They go not take me serious. Please take this show serious, right? Because this is a serious show. Let me finish the introduction, brother. Then we could go. You know what I mean? We got Mr. Carpenter Frempong. Mr. Carpenter Frempong, who is the founder of Green District Media in the building, videographer who had his stuff playing while we heard the reverb in the system. So shout out to y'all. So I guess first question is just to do a check in on how y'all feeling, how y'all been holding up in the.
I would say in you good man customary fashion, we should not break the mold and do what went right for you today, right? Ain't that's
so
normal?
and so you know, boys
I mean, it's a little harder. It's a little harder.
Boys want to take over the show, you know. This and it would be him, right? Because if you haven't been in the group, anytime I got to step out, he's the vice president.
This is true. This is
definitely
true.
So no, we just joking around. Again, I haven't seen a lot of these brothers in a minute. As far as
Definitely not yesterday at 8:00.
Exactly.
Yeah. For the record, I was here at 8:00 too. So I don't want whatever.
We were here though. We were just on a different screen,
a different bridge or what have you.
Right.
But it's fine.
Well, salute to y'all brothers for being on time.
Thank you. So let us have that.
So what we do customary is that we usually start by identifying something that went well, right? Because it's the idea that when things are going wrong in your life, in the world, it's the positive things, the things that are healthy and productive that you've potentially accomplished in your life within the past week or so, or even longer if you got to go back even further, that you really need to lean into in order to help you and help you as you navigate these difficult times. So since you brought it up, Kyle, we're gonna start with you.
So I have a 6-year-old daughter, and today, obviously with the homeschooling and kind of like doing the stuff at home or whatever, she was able to read like a whole page, which was, like a small victory. You know how like I know just as a parent sometimes, um, it's like we put these seeds in the ground and you're not sure if it's actually going to bear fruit. So I just feel like this was like a culmination of the work that I was doing. The fact that she was able to read like a whole page. So little pat on my back, encouragement for me. And that's something that went well for me. It's kind of like being able to see like the fruits of your labor kind of come to fruition. You know what I mean? Like bear fruit. So
That's what's up. That's what's
yeah.
up. Go ahead, Angelo. You can go next.
Oh yeah, no, that's dope, man. Yeah, I went well. Um, yeah, I'm just really getting a even more intimate relationship with my kids and my wife, and we are obviously we're close, we live together, right? But just being in close quarters consistently all day long, you really gotta love somebody, right? So just knowing that now, yeah, I'm a teacher as well.
Mhm.
I'm homeschooling as well, and we're having a great time with it. We're playing a lot of games. They're learning a lot. I can see it. I can tell. Because when your kids are in school, you gotta wait for progress reports or grades to come out to kind of know where they are,
Mhm.
and then you know what I mean. So now I get to kind of physically see it in real time, and it's a different energy, and it's pretty dope. My son is 4 and my daughter's 5, but he's like right with her because
Mhm.
we're kind of staring it towards more of her curriculum, so he has no choice but to kind of try to keep up, and he's doing
Mhm.
fine with it, to be honest with you. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's on you, Zane.
So I think today was one of the first days I was relaxed at
Mhm.
work. And I think that's just in general. I'm an intense person. Some might say neurotic. I won't say that. But I've been working on that with my therapist, like trying not to, we go into work like 150%. You got to do this. You know what I mean? That's why I usually move quickly through my jobs and move up quickly vertically. But I think I'm starting to understand what my therapist is talking about in terms of breathing and being grounded and
Mhm.
just doing things that make you make life easier and not harder.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, I guess it's on me. Something that went what? Um, Shoot. I mean, my daughter was here for the weekend. So that was a good time. She enjoyed herself. I got to enjoy her. Again, seeing her laugh and smile. It's been it's been an up and down last year for her and I for the most part as she adjusts to daddy in this other life that he has and just that shift. So just to spend any time with her is for me is always a good thing. And her not saying, yo, all right, what time am I leaving? Like she just was able to be in the moment. Right. Even if it wasn't her and I engaging for 48 consecutive hours, which is, not the healthiest. Because we do need separation and we need to be able to do our own thing too. But that was something that I definitely want to lean into as I navigate days like today, where it was just one of those mentally grinding days, one of those days you just got to grind out. Um, I just posted a post. Well, I guess we'll just get right into it. So I just posted a post on all my social medias about just this idea of having to be productive during this time off, during this quarantine time. And I found myself like maybe an hour before we started, just getting frustrated and getting angry with myself, just trying to say, well, what did I do today? And I just kept like, yo, what did I do today? And I just was finding difficulty like naming something. Yeah, I show prepped or what have you, but I feel like I should be going above and beyond because I have all this extra time. And the post that I put, and I, a lot of people are liking, oh, great, but it was more for me. And what it said was, even though you're home and have ample time to create a business, write an entire book, post more content on your social media, don't feel obligated to do so. Yes, increasing productivity will be lovely, but do it on your own terms, not because Rise and Grind social media says you should. If the only thing you could say at the end of this quarantine is, I survived, then you won. You've won. Anything else accomplished is icing on the cake. And so I think part of that for me was just having to recenter myself. Because I think for me, and I'll let you guys speak to this, a lot of this time now, I've been spending a lot of it in my head, right? I've been spending a lot in my head as opposed to when you're out in the streets and you're just moving and going. When you're sitting, quote unquote, confined to your home or what have you, you spend a lot of time thinking. And for those of us who are already thinkers, it's just like magnified by 100%, 1,000%. Especially when, whether you're a creator like Cobb and I and Zane, or whether real estate is creating too. We all
Yeah.
creators in some aspect, right? And so,
Very creative.
and
Yeah.
just trying to figure out how we can maximize this time can be difficult on us. It could be hard for us, and we have to end the day saying we did X, Y, and Z. And so maybe you guys could speak to that. Just your experience with that as we've been in this quarantine period.
I'll go because I think my experience is a little bit different because I'm still working, but I put that same pressure on myself all the time anyway. And I think actually the quarantine has made me more productive, but less crazy about it. Cause I feel like today I did a 20-minute yoga workout but when I came home, I took a nap. You know what I mean? But I did do that one thing. And I think I'm scaling back how many things I feel like I have to do in a day. Somehow, I don't feel that same pressure. But that's the thing that I'm trying to relieve myself from. Exactly what you were saying, that we have to accomplish all of these things. Like if I look back over my life, I know I've accomplished a lot. You know what I mean? And if I don't do anything else, I'm good, basically. You know what I mean? But that pressure that we have to keep achieving and keep accomplishing is something that I know I've talked about it. I think I've talked about it with you guys. Like the whole degree thing and the unfinished thing. And then I talked to you about real estate. There's all these things that pop up into your head that you don't have to feel obligated. Like you said, Phil, you don't have to feel obligated to do it. And I'm still working, but I'm still feeling that same pressure of doing more because we got to be in the house after those 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I remember when people would always talk about like the grind, like rise and grind and all that stuff. I was never a big believer in that. Um, just like even if you really think about it, like the word grind, right? I mean, obviously we're getting into semantics or whatever, but the word grind, like think about a machine, right? And a machine is grinding. That machine is not working at its optimal level. It's grinding. You know what I mean? Like it needs something to function, better. So I personally have never been a fan of that phrase of grinding. Like, I feel like, there's a time to work, there's a time to work, there's a time to rest, the Ecclesiastes, I had to go there, right, Phil?
Yeah, let's do it. Do it.
There's a time for everything, and when it's time to work, yeah, I work my tail off, uh, you know, but when it's time to be with family, I don't, that idea of like multitasking, all that stuff, nah. When I'm with my family, I want to be present. I want to be there with my family, and when I'm working, I want to be present. I want to, do the tasks that's at hand. It's kind of interesting because me and my wife have this thing now where we do like the first 4 hours of the day. It's me with the girls. She's doing what she needs to do for work, and then the second like 4 hours of the day, she's with the girls and I'm doing the work that I need to do. And it's interesting that because our days are set up like that, and I go into whatever, project that I'm working on, knowing that I have 4 hours, I feel like it's like, oh, okay, I've got 4 hours allotted to do this task. And I feel like because of that, it's more focused. I think this was something that Phil, you brought up in the Cal Newport book,
Yeah.
something along those lines. And, I didn't get a chance to
Digital Minimalist.
Yeah. Matter of fact, didn't I finish? Yeah, matter of fact, I did finish reading it.
He talking about deep work.
Deep work.
I'm
That's
sorry.
what it was.
I'm sorry.
So, this is like my first actual, because how like sometimes you read books and then, you retain the information, but this is the first chance that I feel like I was able to apply that. And it's working wonders. It is very, very powerful to know that you're going into a situation with a certain time allocated. It's like focus, like laser focus. So I might have been getting more done there than the 8 hours that we might have been doing at like Uncle Bobby's, because Uncle Bobby's, we just sit there, bust it up, chop it up, whatever. You look up, it's like, dang, I ain't getting no work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
What about you, Angela?
That I think that is a truism what you said, as far as like, when you had that condensed time factor there that you're working against, you tend to run real hard for it's a burst, it's like a sprint. Whereas you got, if you got 8 hours or something like that, you tend to kind of veer off into other things and get distracted. So I totally agree with that, Kyle. As far as what I've been doing to kind of deal with this quarantine thing, I just been picking up things, like, I don't want to call them hobbies, but things that I had in my mind, because I'm a thinker. So I'm always, I'm driving, I'm thinking about things that I can do better. Every day that I wake up, I want to be better than I was yesterday. So I'll think about, what, I need to start doing X, Y, and Z, read more books, start running, doing X, Y, whatever it may be. So I've literally been doing all of those things now, along with running my business, and just changing the way that my business looks now. Again, in real estate, you got to be creative, and I'm all about creative real estate and different strategies to make deals work, and how to find deals and analyze deals and things of that nature. So you do use a lot of your creatism in this industry. So as far as with the quarantine, I had to reinvent myself again, just how I'm managing my projects, managing my crews. Even this week is rent collection, right? That's going to be a big one. This is like a week that we kind of been waiting for, as far as how we're going to get through it. Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of families that are going to have some struggles coming up with their money. So again, just coming up with creative ways and strategies, plan B, plan C. If somebody hits me with this, what am I going to do? How are we going to react? And at the end of the day, we're in this thing together. I think, is that the like slogan for this thing? We're in this thing together. I've been seeing that like all over the place.
I mean, I'm sure that's been the slogan for everything that's ever transpired in history.
Right.
I do want to speak to something that you said, where it's just this idea of being better than yesterday, and I think I understand what that means, but it could be it's such a slippery slope for people, right?
It is.
I think if we wake up and we acknowledge that we're already not even trying to compare yesterday to today, right? Like if we recognize that today is just its own special day, this hour, this minute, it's its own special time. Not to say that we don't want to grow in different areas.
It's unique in itself. Like, live in the moment type of deal, right?
Yeah, and I think so many people, including myself at times, it's just like, all right, I did this yesterday, so now I have to do this. And then if we try to measure it, and if we don't live up to it, that's when it becomes, detrimental to.
Well, I mean, I think. No, I think a healthy. I think like a healthy balance with that ideal is right, the right way. And I don't want. Right isn't the right word, right? I think you just got to have a full understanding of that meaning. And again, you want to continue to grow, like you said, be better than you were yesterday, but also don't look at it as if you were a failure, right? So I don't. People can take it to those extremes. And the same thing, like you said, if you come out of this quarantine and you survived it and that's good enough, that's the way you're wired. You know what I'm saying? I kind of look at I look at it from a different POV. Like, This is an opportunity for me to expand somehow, some form, some fashion. And I couldn't be satisfied with, this is a whole bunch of time we have allotted to us that a lot of things got cut out now, right? So I have to find a way to expand. Me personally, that's just the way I'm wired. But I do understand the other idea.
I think where I agree with Phil is that idea of achievement can become a source of anxiety.
It is for me.
You hold yourself accountable to every single thought and every single project that comes across your brain. Like, that's my issue. You know what I mean? Like, I have so many ideas and things like that I want to accomplish, and I really most of the time I'm trying to do all of them at the same time, and it keeps my body in tension. And I really have to say, right now I'm doing this. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in multitasking, but the brain is always trying to do more than one thing at a time. And for me, it creates a tension that I have to keep. That is a daily process of. That's something I have to work on if I want to be relaxed and move into this next phase of my life in a real comfortable way. You know what I mean? And it makes me tired. Like, one of the reasons I come home so tired is because I'm, and I got to the point where I'll make a list, and the list alleviates a lot of the problem, to-do list, because as I do it, I can cross it off. But when you don't make that list, you're constantly trying to remember what you have to do, which puts me, and I think other people too, in tension. So this is good information, because like I'm going to achieve no matter what. Like, I know that I don't have to put extra pressure on myself. Like, right now I'm doing an online course. I'm searching for properties to buy. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do the yoga thing and trying to figure this damn Ta-Nehisi Coates book. I'm almost finished that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to be the best, manager I can be at work. You know what I mean? So all of those things, and keep the house up. So it's a whole bunch of things you're doing, but I think they can be done with breath. You know what I mean? Yeah. And without the black tax that we put on ourselves, that we have to do everything at 150%. What if I only do it at 60%?
Let me
get this
comment in real quick from Jay Julian. They said, for me, I take it day by day and ask myself, what will make today meaningful or fulfilling, so I'm able to be productive, but I don't compare days or compete. And that's a real comment. Then we have Travis. Shout out to Travis Kinney, our token white guy at the him and Mike.
That's my guy.
Yeah, shout out to Travis who's tuned in on the live. He says there's a lot to be said about consistency day to day, which is arguably as important as always thinking about how to improve and be better than yesterday. Travis couldn't have said any better. That's something that I recognize when it comes to this idea of writing, right? And so there was a stretch in time where I wrote for 3 months straight, whether I felt like it, whether I didn't, whether it was 1,000 words, whether it was 200 words, but it was still the act. It was still the process. And then once I really got fixated on like word counts and what have you, I started falling back. And now you look back at it and you say, well, you haven't written in 3 weeks. You haven't produced any content in 3 weeks. And instead of just saying, all right, you know what? I'm just going to be diligent in my efforts for this hour period in time. So yeah, it is something to be said about that consistency. I posted and I may post it again tomorrow. It's a poet, Reggie Gaines, on Def Poetry Jam. And he was like, the reason why he writes when he doesn't feel like writing is because he might find out something about himself that he otherwise may never have known, right? And so if we only write, if we only produce, if we only search for properties or what have you, we're missing great opportunities to learn about ourselves, right? To learn about ourselves. If we only do things when we're feeling amazing, well, life says that we're not going to feel amazing 100% of the time, right? So what does those other times consist of? Y'all give your thoughts.
I look at it, for me, it's like, it's the competitive, it's not a right or wrong thing. And it is something, like Zane said, like, it's something that I work with my therapist on it. Like, if she says, some of the things that you guys have also said to me multiple times, right? As far as just going too hard, like you described the word grind and what it is. Like, yeah, grinding, that's not necessarily the optimum level for anything to be at, right? When you're grinding on something and just wearing it, you're wearing down, right? When you're grinding. So and again, even when you frame it as life is a grind, life is wearing you down. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a pessimistic or a negative way of kind of framing things. But yeah, I struggle because again, I'm always competing, like whether it's sports or what have you. I take life as a competition. So I'm even competing in my own head against how I was yesterday. So it's just
You know, one of the
Go ahead, I'll let you go.
one of the things that I think is obviously I'm a huge fan of LeBron, right? And there's always like the comparison LeBron, Kobe, Michael, right? One of the things that is to me that's like unsaid, like if you look at Kobe and Michael, they were like so consumed with basketball to the point where their lives, like they didn't seem like people you would want to be around, right?
No, not at all. Not
They
their
were
playing
just so
days.
they're just so consumed with basketball. But then when you look at somebody like LeBron, he performs at the same level, numbers wise, all that stuff. But this dude has built a school. This dude his social activism is pretty much on par with like his performance on the court, you know?
That's heavy.
And that's something that, to me, that's like that's like, I think he gets an extra credit for that, because
Yeah, I would agree.
to kind of like not just want to be this one thing, you're obviously the face of the NBA, right? So I think he purposefully maybe had spots in his life to where he was like, okay, basketball is basketball, but then I know I have these other things that are pulling on me, that's weighing on my spirit, that I feel like I need to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just encouraged by that,
Yeah. I think it's a great point. It's that you bring up that LeBron. When I think about Kobe, God bless the dead, and Gigi, and that story Michael Jordan told, right, where he said Kobe hit me at it was like 2 a.m, and he was talking about teaching Gigi at like 13, 12, and when did he was like, well, I was playing baseball at 12,
Right.
13. I wasn't this hyper focused on that, right? It was just I was just in honestly just being a kid. That's what I got from that. Like I was just playing baseball because I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't about I had to sit and be the best. And I think for so many of us, black men, black people in general, we often get put into this cycle of, again, we know we got to be twice as good, three times as good, but then again we add even more pressure on because of our legacy. We got kids watching, we got people watching, we going to college for granny, for grandma, for all the people who couldn't
Only
and
want to go in your family and all that.
exactly. And so that's just undue, unnecessary pressure. Is it a reality? Yeah. I was talking to a young fella. He came on the radio, one of my first interviews. He had a strong name like Hanslet or something like that, but he was from Jamaica.
Hanslet?
No, real rap. That was his.
I've never heard that name a
Yeah,
day in my
but
life.
he was fresh from Jamaica. Got a football scholarship to some
Oh, I
D1
saw that. I saw
schools
that interview.
and what have you. And he was like he wants to stay close to home because he got to look after his mom, and it's just like, yo, all this pressure, right? He can't just be a kid. He can't be a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. And so we adopt so much of this pressure that we don't know how to turn it off. It becomes to make us physically ill, or we begin to adopt unhealthy vices. Think about all these prodigies like what's his name? Was it Maranovich, Todd Maranovich, people, something like that. The football player, like he was a machine.
A
right?
lot of them.
He was built
Andre
to be,
Agassi.
these people were built to be a machine, and then they, like machines do, as we talk about this grind, we break down. So to see LeBron have his foot in different things, and again, people underestimate his work ethic. It's just like, what do we measure? Like why are we measuring the work ethic that somebody puts in against another, right? Like he probably works just as hard as Kobe, just as hard as Mike, right? Because he's not outwardly expressive with it. Um, it's no stories of him shooting 30,000 jump shots, even though he might be shooting 30,000 jump shots. It's like we laud these things, these John Henry S type of
Yeah.
these qualities when we see
Yeah.
what it does, what it
Yeah,
leads
the
to.
legend,
Exactly.
legendary workouts. He climbed a mountain with his bare feet, and yeah, we love
I
that.
think we program too.
Yeah,
Capitalism
we love
does
that.
that.
Yeah,
Like the country that we live in and the environment we in, it puts that pressure on us from a really young age. And I'm remembering a lecture at a dance theater camp that I used to teach at. And I remember this guy, he was a Broadway producer, and he said, "I'll sleep when I'm dead."
yeah,
And I took that seriously because I remember that was like a turning point for me and how much I thought that I could get done in a day. And I remember like turn up. I like turned it up, and for like 5 years, I would work from the time I woke up until the time I went to sleep. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
and that was because that moment was so impactful in my thinking about, oh my God, I'm not doing enough. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like this is the business I want to be in, whether it was producing dance or creating dance. And this guy said this in this lecture. And I remember being at that camp and how much we got done in a whole day, because we would work from like 8 till 10 at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we would produce a whole show in like 3 weeks. I was like, this can be done.
Yeah.
So it was good for that moment. I was in my 30s, you know what I mean? But now I'm rethinking that. And
But do you remember anything else from that time? Like besides like, so it's a real question. Like, do you remember anything else besides that? Like, oh, okay, I remember I went out with this person and we had lunch and they told me this funny story. Like, do you remember anything else besides the actual
I
rehearsal?
think I still loved hard. I still played hard, and I still worked hard. Like in my 30s, I could do that. You know what I mean?
I remember I used to work
So
for
yes is the answer to the question.
I remember I used to work for Radio Shack, and Radio Shack, they had a thing called, it was like peak season, right? Which was, I wasn't able to take vacations. You would work like
Right.
really long hours. So it was like pretty much like Black Friday was the beginning of it, and it would go all the way until I think January. It was like pretty much the whole month of December. And I remember just being, like 20 something years old, and I'm like, all right, cool. Cause I was getting paid commission. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna work my tail off. I'm gonna get this money. I'm gonna do it. And I remember working myself to almost like deliriousness. I remember like picking up my phone. Somebody called my cell phone, and I picked up my phone with the Radio Shack greeting. Like, thanks for calling Radio Shack. This is Cabinet Speak. I was delirious. Like everything else was a blur. Like I remember like kind of like maybe like that summer. I was talking to somebody, we were talking about like numbers, and they were like, oh yeah, you killed it. Cause you could see like, like reporting, the metrics would come out or whatever. They were like, oh man, you were really rocking. You were really rocking last peak season or whatever. And I remember just being like, but I don't remember anything. Like you couldn't
Mhm.
ask me anything. Like, yeah, I remember the check. That's about it. But I don't remember I didn't remember anything. Not a conversation I had with anybody, nothing.
Yeah.
Like people would come back and be like, it was almost like I was on like autopilot or whatever. You know what I mean? And I would hate to you know, be like that. And now that I'm in my 40s now, it's like I don't want to do that again. I don't want to grind. I don't want to be, not for an extended period of time. Like I understand, okay, I got a deadline to me. Cool, I got to knock this out. Cool, I get that. I'm with that. That's not difficult. But we talk about like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep, like you said, I'ma just keep I'ma keep what you say he said, I'ma sleep when I'm dead. Like, no,
Yeah,
fam.
yeah, that's
You
Steve
get
Harvey type time that he be telling
yeah,
people, man.
get some sleep
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah,
Fam, everything will be there
yeah.
when you wake up. It'll be like
Yeah,
I'm,
but
can
capitalism
I
don't
speak
think
to that?
like that.
Can I speak to that?
go ahead. Then we gonna get
Because
ready to switch topics.
okay.
okay, so yeah, I come from that environment too, and like you hit it on the head, Zane, as far as it being a capitalist culture, right? That's been ingrained in us. And yeah, I worked in corporate America, as soon as I got out of school, and that was all that I did. So that culture and that energy, that competition level was heightened. You know what I'm saying? And it was like so competitive, uber competitive, right? So that's who I became. That's how I was shaped, and that's how I came up. So it's taken time for me, and I'm in my 30s now. So it's taken time for me to move away from that and shift away from that. I am looking at this thing as like, again, a race, 100-yard dash. Like I'm going to sprint out of the block to the finish line, and I do have plans on transitioning into a different space to where again I can relax more. Um, my wife always says like she doesn't believe it, right? Because she's seen me being this person the whole time, right? So she doesn't believe that I'll ever be able to relax. And honestly, like my therapist said that, she questioned that too. And that's something that I have to struggle with in my head. And I have to think, ponder like, am I going to be able to get out of this at some point? So it is something that it keeps you up at night. You rolling, tossing and turning about like, damn, is this who I'm going to always be? This is what I'm used to. And I know I'm teaching it to my kids, like work hard, go hard, you know what I mean? Go hard or go home, sleep when you think. So yeah, man, it's a tough space to be in. And I know Phil, real quick, I'll be done. And I know, like you said, as far as us shouldering a lot of responsibilities as Black males, is that such a bad thing? Like, because I look at it as if this is the cards that I was dealt, and I want to, and I'm embracing that thing, and like I understand that, and that's just again the way that I'm wired. I'm fine with that. I'm take all the bullets because I'm with that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't know if that's right or
I
wrong, but
yeah, no, it's just shout out to Buddy, my cat who just came out the basement.
yo, buddy.
No, I think it just is. I think that's the thing. It's not about right or wrong. It just is, and I think the more we're aware of it,
Right,
and understand our relationship to it,
right.
um, like my one thing my mom always said was just she wanted me to go to school, get an education. That was it. So I've been doing school, and I think a part of that is, and I honestly had this revelation today. I'm sitting here reading this James Baldwin book, and it's really like
Which one?
first it's a super hard read. What is it? It's
Nobody.
no. I'll find it while y'all talking on the next topic. But he in his introduction he was talking about this was around a period where he was leaving Europe, right? And he was like he came to Europe and Europe showed him that he could just be a writer, that all the American BS that was taking place didn't have to exist in his life. But then he got to a point where he was just thinking, is this a crutch for me right now? Being over here in Europe, is it safe? Right, and now for me to fully understand who I am to a deeper degree, a deeper level, I now have to go back, right? So I can learn me a little bit more. And I had to recognize that with myself. Like I think for a period of time I've used school, even my pursuing of a doctorate, uh has partially been, I had to be real, say part of it is a crutch, right? Where I know if I can involve myself in this, that I can don't really have to confront life head on. Like some of my focus, some of my energy will be needed in one place instead of having to all focus on quantify and being a family and doing all of this. I still have this other escape that I can go to. Again, it's not about whether right or wrong or indifferent, but it just is. I think when it becomes the way on you, right, where it impacts your wellness quad in any type of way, that's when we say, all right, you know what, I got to take a step back and recognize that. Because if I'm doing it for everybody else, and I know you not, like, first and foremost, it has to be about you. I always say that whatever it is that you do in life can start about being for somebody else, but it has to end about being about you, because you'll
Yeah,
you'll live with regret, you'll be
right.
frustrated, you'll look at it and not be able to truly appreciate it. right? You
Right.
might despise it somewhat if we
Right.
sit and look at it if we sit and look at it honestly. So yeah, it's I think it just is, but I think we need to be mindful about why it is that we're doing. I think when we talk about the books like Deep Work or what have you, and I think we see it a lot in this quarantine culture that a lot of this stuff America says, a lot of the stuff that our employers said, like, no, you can't work from home. Right? We need you in the
Right.
office. A lot of people saying, seeing that's a bold faced lie. I could still get this work done at home. If not, I
Yeah.
could be more productive at home. So we're starting to see that, we can work on our terms and still be productive. Like we starting to see, like the Sixers cut down. I talked about yesterday how they cut their staff work hours down to 4 days a week. Right? That fifth day for real isn't doing anything for people who work in the office or what
Yeah.
have you.
Right.
And I'm sure Zane, you could probably attest to it. For real, the 8 hours that you do, you're not working an entire 8 hours. You know what I mean? Some of this stuff is like some BS, some nonsense.
Yeah.
Not you,
Old
not
ideas that came in back in the day, we
yeah,
just hold on to.
exactly. So now we
Yeah.
seeing that we can operate without
Yeah.
that, and so I think that's where
Yeah.
it's. That's why you got to be. We know it's
I'm
your
a bad
bedtime.
example.
Yeah, we know it's
I'm
your
a bad-
bedtime coming up, Zane.
No, I'm sick.
Coming up.
Right.
It's
Right.
past that.
Yeah, but no, I think
I'm a
with books like
bad example.
Deep Work, where it's just like, and I think this is me because I'm not, and I got to be real with myself. I'm not the grinder till 2 a.m. I like doing minimal work, doing the most work in the least amount of time. You know what I mean? And so for me,
4 hour work week type of.
yeah, listen, or a 4 hour work day, and I think that's
Yeah.
where Cal Newport comes in and say, and I when I implemented some of his practices, like getting into this state of flow and deep work, and I'm working for an hour straight, and I'm setting an alarm, like that's my most focused time, right? As
Right.
opposed to the 3 hours that I'm sitting, like me writing up for the night. I'm on IG. I'm watching a different world on the TV screen. It's not that hyper focus
Yeah.
and so I know for me, if I can really hone in, that I can get these, I could have more time to myself. It's not to say I won't have days where I'm working more than I desire, but I won't compromise my rest or anything in my sleep for that. So shifting gears right quick, we gonna get into the conversation of just relationships and how we're dealing. I know 3 out of 4 of us are I'm trying to see how to put this so Zane don't snap on me.
I'm by myself.
So you by
Yeah.
yourself. You said it. You said it, Zane, not me.
I'm by myself right
so
now.
so
I'm
I
in
So
between.
you doing good then?
He's
Hey,
quarantining alone. He's quarantining alone.
So my sister is here, but
Okay.
I don't have
that's-
a significant. That's what he's trying to beat around.
exactly. That's what try to beat him. But you
I don't
said
have
it.
a significant other.
So
You ain't got no boo thing.
So just how have y'all been dealing with the no Carlton filibustering, man? How how are y'all dealing with the, whether it's you, Cobb, Angelo, myself, being around your partner more than you probably have been in a very long time, and you, Zane, how are you dealing with
With not.
with not? I was gonna put it in a nicer way. But that, because I don't know what Zane doing out here, but that potentially that lack of consistent
alone.
physical intimacy, right? That physical interconnectedness that you might have or desire from a partner. So just how are you all coping with that during these quarantine times? Because I know for me personally, like I told a story the other day, my partner and I did a rhetorically speaking on Friday, and I was like sick of her on Thursday. Like I tried to. Bro, rap. I tried to go. I got up. I was like, I got to take some stuff to UPS, get that shipped off, go to the post office. So I was in my, all right, I'm out. And she was like, all right, where we going? And I was like, wait, no.
We.
Yeah. And she ended up going with me. It was just like those moments where, now granted, she works during the day and, we don't communicate all like that. She's upstairs or downstairs and I'm in somewhere else because I feel like I need that space. I can't be up under you 24/7, right? But But I know for me, it's been those days where it's like, yo, I'm sick of your face. I'm sick of my face. I'm sick of just faces in general. So can y'all speak to that?
Oh, man. Who
Uh,
wants to take that one?
I mean, I'll
Let's
take
talk.
it. I'll start. So, like with us, you know, I got two little ones. I got a 6-year-old. I got a two, about to be a 2-year-old. And you know, the intimacy or lack thereof. I mean, just because we're in the house together, it's not always, you know, like golden. I mean, we have found some time for, you know, like husband and wife time or whatever. But our days are so packed. Like my 6-year-old runs into our room at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it's literally 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning to about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Like we're with him. And then
Preach.
what we do is like, you know, when we do have that time, it's almost like leftover loving. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh,
All
it's
you
not,
got.
you know, it's like, all right, this is what we got. Like, you know, there's been a few times where we're like, okay, let's watch a movie. You know what I mean? And then, you know, the movie winds up watching us. You know what I mean? But you know, it's difficult. I mean, you know, I don't we haven't had any issues because we actually did so we have a therapy, and we did a session like virtually. And he asked us, he was like, yeah, so how are y'all doing with all of this? And I'm like, yo, we ain't really got no issues. Like, you know, there's no concerns. It's almost like we don't even have time to have issues type of thing. You know what I mean? Like all of our time is devoted to our daughters. And then, you know, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours if we're lucky, you know, with each other. And then we get back up and do the same thing over again. And it's, you know, sometimes somebody might come over, keep the kids in the bed, keep the kids downstairs while her and I are upstairs, just kind of like being away from them, maybe go for a walk or something like that. But you know, I would say that it's not, unfortunately, it's not enough time to have issues, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you
So
know,
it's
we
not
might get
the Wuhan when they lift the quarantine. Like, all right, we running to get divorces. I don't know if
nah.
y'all seen that where like 100 couples they was
I
lined
heard
up
that.
in front of the
For real?
yeah.
I remember, I know that was like a joke. I saw
No,
like
no,
a
no, that
meme
was
about it,
real.
but it's
Yeah,
legit.
yeah, that was
No, no,
real.
no, no. I mean, somebody was making that joke or whatever, but I didn't know. I know that China, like, you know, recently kind of like changed, and a lot of restrictions kind of like went away. Um, that's crazy though. Like 100
Yeah.
people was like 100 couples or 100
I'm
people?
done with
No,
it.
it was a
Yeah.
hundred. It was a couples, like
100
100 couples.
couples.
Yeah, I think it
Oh
was like
wow.
81 or something like that. But again, that's
Yeah.
small in comparison. But to be like, and my thinking is, and for people who also say it, like you, if you learning a lot about your significant other during this period, that would only really work for, in my opinion, if you guys just met, maybe. But if you've
Mm-hmm.
been in a relationship for a period of
You
time,
know
like
every day,
hopefully you
right?
have an understanding. So if you're
Yeah.
trying to
Hopefully you
break
have an
out,
understanding to get married. I would
Yeah,
hope, you
yeah.
know what I
So
mean?
yeah.
yeah, you should be past that. But again, people do get divorces, so it's like
Yeah, yeah.
they weren't able to. They these people those 81 couples were getting divorced anyway. They
and
just
that's
had
and
that
that's my
period
point.
that they couldn't go physically to get it, so they had to wait. Like so everybody ran down. But if I could jump in there on the topic, as far as how we've been handling it, so my wife and I are both entrepreneurs, so she sometimes has to step out and go down to her business just to check on some things. She's been using a lot of this time to get stuff organized, sanitize the entire place or just reorganize a section of the library inside of for the kids or whatever they're doing down there.
Oh, she's still open, love?
No, not at
Oh,
all.
okay.
But again, this is you wouldn't have time to really do a deep cleaning during the
Yeah.
day, so they can do that. Or if she's saying, you know what, I want to get rid of these books and put in new books, so she's been able to do some of those things, change the aesthetics in the place. In the meantime, and I'll keep the kids with me. She I think she went this morning from like 7. She left out at like 6:45, got back at like close to 1. By the time she left out, my daughter was saying, "Bye, mommy." I'm like, "Why are you up?" You know what I'm saying? She's jumping in the bed immediately. So yeah, so I've been rolling since then. And like you said, it's nonstop with the kids. It's nonstop. So they're just bouncing off the walls. I got 3 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 7-month-old. So each one of those people need different types of attention. So
that's because you play. That's because you play too much. You know what I mean? That's
because I didn't know how to control myself. Right? So yeah, it's a constant juggling act, just keeping everybody engaged and everything. Like I said, we homeschool, fed the baby together. So we're just trying to get creative, giving the kids more autonomy, giving them more responsibilities as they're home. Watch your sister or something like that, or whatever it may be. So that's the one piece. Then when she got home, I was able to run out and get some paperwork done. I had to run down to my buddy's office and take care of some things. So I was able to do that. So we have been getting times where we've been out, sparingly, not a lot. We're not spending a lot of time out, but she might run to the supermarket and grab a few items, or I might do it. So we are getting a little bit of time away. We just don't, because that's giving her time away from me as well as the kids, and then I'll get the same thing. So you just need that, like you said, Phil. You just gotta kind of separate sometimes. But as far as I love my family, and I want to see I would love for all of my family to be in here, but that would be like against our social distancing rules. But I mean, again, I'm really enjoying this time for the fact that we have to really trim down all of the noise, turn down the business. A guy like me that's always on go, I'm very limited as to what I can do now, right? So I'm really having the opportunity to focus more on me, like how you guys always coach me on, like, stop doing external things, focus on the internal. So I'm appreciating it, honestly.
That's what's up. That's good to hear. What about you, Zane? How you living? How you enjoying your
my non-contact?
Hold on. You should have just let him. I wanted to see what Phil was gonna say. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Just your chill time, your downtime. Your
downtime. He's always on chill time.
Zane.
But no, and we're gonna get to that.
Zane get busy, yo. Don't
mean you're not
alone.
Zane get busy.
Don't, man. I know you the guy.
He just keep his in the tuck. Zane get busy.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Not right now, but no, I try not to indulge on it. I get little notes from my people that I deal with here and there, but I'm not. I try not to focus on it because it does kind of put a glass under the conversation y'all are having with those of us who don't have a person. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I'm with my partner." It's even more. No, not you, but I mean just in general. Like folks are saying that, but I'm not feeling that bad that I'm not having those problems right now. And me and my sister get along. We 10 years apart, so we grew up almost like only children anyway. But we don't have those kind of issues. Like we don't have getting on your nerve issues. We navigate each other really well.
But I think it's important that we talk, that we highlight the fact that, even though things are going great in partnerships, right, it still needs to be room where we need to be by ourselves, where we do need to go for that run by ourselves, that walk, or go to another room where we can decompress. And likewise, the alternate side for you, Zane, would be, those moments of still engaged. You could still date. It's just a different form of dating, right? Where it's just, it might be virtual. You might get to have more healthy, productive, fruitful conversations via this way, as opposed to any other method that you might have been using where you're actually physically engaged with the person and seeing them. So I think there are still ways, and it highlights the importance, whether we need to, it highlights why we do need our alone time too, but we also need those moments because, again, we are bred to be interconnected.
True that. I agree.
So, hey, I thought y'all was gonna have more to say on that topic, so I guess not. You know what I mean? That's my bad. Let's see what else do I have left.
Nah, it's a good topic, man.
I think so. So I did see. So I was on a and my partner and I discussed this on our live. Where we ain't going to get into the to the polyamory and all of that, because we've had this discussion
Uh-oh.
about her and I before. And so, but we talked about how I was on a podcast last week and they were talking about this. You should be having sex with your partner like every day and 6, 7 times a day. And I'm like, what
What?
type of ish y'all on?
Impossible.
Like,
6, 7
I
times
don't
a
know if
day?
they were being serious or
Impossible.
not. And I'm just sitting there like, yo,
Come on. Come on.
I think where we are now is hopefully you just respect me enough if I'm not in the mood and vice versa. Um, that I don't have to play that game with you where I got to force myself to do anything. I mean, sometimes you got to take one for the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
hopefully it's not this like obligation that you have to be physically intimate with your
Yeah.
partner because you have all of this time together. You know, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't like to force it. I don't want it to be forced. Like you said, like that sounds like work now. You talking about
Mhm.
what they say you gotta have sex 7 times a
But
day?
I think they were highlight like
Come
this
on
is a
now.
great time for you to connect with your partner in a physically intimate way, and which I agree. It
It
might
is.
allow
It
for some
is.
for more time for some. But again, I don't know if it necessarily should be an expectation. All right,
Nah,
like
I
it's
agree with that. I agree with that. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, don't
that's
try to put it make it a job for me.
yeah.
well, didn't you
And
didn't Pastor Waller do 40 days of sex at E9?
I don't remember that.
Did he?
Oh,
I could
nah,
have swore you told me. All right, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't
nah, yeah.
E9 or Pastor Waller, but it was. I think
40
your homie
days.
said it was a church that he went to, and it was about having sex with your wife
Oh
every
yeah,
day.
yeah. But it wasn't. But it wasn't no 40 days. Like,
I thought it was like Ash Wednesday or Lent.
like you
the-
fasted.
Yeah, I thought it was Lent.
nah,
Yeah,
not
like
for
it's
Lent.
lit.
Normally you stop like for Lent season. You stop something. You know what I mean? And sometimes people will not have sex for 40 days.
Okay.
So what was the
Um,
science behind that though? What was
Nah,
the
so like because so it was one of my friends and he went to like this, he went to this mega church or whatever type of situation. And it was saying that, I think it was like 7 days or 2 weeks or something like that. I don't remember all of the details, but it was supposed to promote like intimacy. It was supposed to promote like, okay, we know that when we get together, this is what we're doing. And I can't, like I said, I can't remember all of the details, but it was like it was supposed to promote like the intimacy. It was supposed to bring like connectedness. He said it worked. He felt like it worked for them. I mean, I don't know if he was just selling like wolf tickets or something, or just kind of like riding his pastor's coattails. But yeah,
But it's
I remember when he told me that, and I was just like, every day. He was like, yeah, every day,
but
man,
physical
14
physical
days.
intimacy doesn't always have to end in an orgasm.
I mean,
bingo?
that's
Because
true.
I was thinking the same thing. Sex doesn't necessarily mean you being intimate, honestly, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
like
mean, like I
Well,
said,
does
I might be butchering it because it wasn't. I might be butchering it. So
right. I mean,
um, but yeah, I mean, it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. That my homie and his wife were doing. Their whole church was doing it. And
their whole church was
the
doing
whole
it.
church, all the married
Doing it.
couples was
yeah, I
doing
just
it.
don't
Like
feel like
I
I
want
want you
literally, right? Literally,
telling me
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
doing
doing
it,
it.
I take
That's
the
funny.
excitement out of it. Like if you, I
right?
know I got to
Yeah.
do it like every day,
obligation.
like the
Yeah,
spontaneity. I mean, hey,
right.
listen, sometimes you just got to schedule that time in, like you schedule any other time in.
I
But
mean,
I
that's
don't want
real, but
Pastor Jenkins telling me like give it
yeah,
here, give it up. Like
I remember. You know
Pastor,
what's kind of
Pastor
crazy?
Jenkins.
So I remember we did like I said, we had a virtual session and he gave us this work to do, right? And my wife and I were doing this work, like this particular like workbook type of thing. And like some of the things that kind of like came up in our conversation drew me closer to her, and then we were able to kind of like take it to another level, which was like exciting for me because it was just like, yo, I felt like we were dating again. It was like fresh, it was like new, and it was like super 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 dope because it was just like, yo, we just really connected. Like, not, oh, okay, we're going to do like foreplay and then kind of like get to it or anything like that. It was like, yo, we connected here, just kind of like talking about this work that we're supposed to be doing. and then that led to, that was kind of like the foreplay. You know what I mean? Which was, I hadn't done that in, like a couple of years.
And now you got a baby.
No, I
Almost
ain't got no
2-year-old.
I ain't got no baby. Oh, no.
Almost 2 years.
I thought you was talking about like, now I got a baby because of that.
The little one. The little
I know
one.
that's the joke, right? Not what? What's 90 days? I mean, what's 9 months from now? What, September?
Oh yeah, that is the running.
The Rona baby.
The social media one. What's that, Phil? You know all that social media stuff.
The
What's
Rona
that
baby.
joke?
I try to follow sophisticated people. I mean, that's what I do out in
But
these
listen,
streets.
I want to go back to, you were saying like there's alternatives to dating and stuff. And I think I'm really bad at those alternatives.
I'll be right
Not
back.
just, I mean, I'm fine with getting on the phone and stuff, but any kind of like, apps and all that kind of stuff. Like,
And so that's what this. Go ahead.
yeah, like those things. I'm very, I don't have the patience, and I like to meet people face to face. I think that's where I do best, and that's what I'm missing. I'm missing like being out and just connecting with people, because sometimes, like I told you, we had this conversation about energy, I think at the radio station one time. And like a lot of times it's the energy that connects me to the person. Sometimes it's romantic and sometimes it's just a friendship. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just a whole different vibe. And I'm open to those kind of connections. And I think sometimes that works to my advantage, because I think, and sometimes it doesn't, because I think some people are laser focused on hookup and relationship finding. You know what I mean? And even though I'm open and looking, I'm also open to all other kinds of relationships, experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though in my mind, I know I want a relationship, I'm so much more interested in not so much more interested. I'm just as gratified when I find a new friend that I connect with intellectually.
But
what I mean?
but that's the thing. Like, who says you can't have that on? And I know what your preference is. Your preference is to meet people just by chance in the streets or what have you and connect with them. But who's to say it's not a plenty of fish or I'm not going. I was about to say the at, but I don't want to. I don't know how.
Plug nobody.
Yeah, say it again.
You don't want to plug nobody.
Well, no, I ain't want to.
No. I know what you was about to say.
You know what I was
Just
gonna
keep
say.
it
Yeah. I ain't want to put your situation out, even though I know you real and transparent and vulnerable with yours. But I mean, it might be an opportunity to just be and bust it up with people and meet cool people there. Like one of my closest homegirls, she hit me up today. Like, yo, want to be on the show. Like, she's a fellow therapist. Like, I met her on like a dating site. We didn't hit it off as like partners in that way, but we just end up being like real cool, real tight. Shout out to Lauren Allen. Again, I wasn't going in with that expectation, but that's what happened. So it just might be a way to again just have conversation, like what's up, what's going on, and just connect to somebody, as opposed to living this, and not saying you're doing this, living this I am legend life, right? Where it's just like it's just you and your sister. And I know you busted up with people at work and stuff like that, but in the home space where you can still bust it up with different people, see who full of nonsense, get hip to some of the game that's going around. You know what I mean? Because you want to stay in tune to it. I know you're an old school fool. You know what I mean? But you can still learn some new things. But yeah, so that's just my 2 cents with regards to it. That's really it, man. It's 9:15. So I guess we're gonna do, since we're doing what we do typically at the group, so we're gonna go around and we're gonna identify something that we can work on, something tangible, something identifiable that we can work on between now and the next time that we meet. So who wants to start?
I'm gonna start. I'm still trying to do mindfulness and relaxing. Like I'm trying to, still get my work done, but do it in a way relaxed, less intense sort of way.
So what does that look like? Here we go, Zane. Like, Zane, you've been there enough. What does that look like in practice?
That looks like that feels like deep breaths. It feels like slowing down. It feels like gathering everything you need before you go to the other side of the store. You know what I mean? It feels like slowing down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
No.
do. So so are you going to practice that tomorrow? How many times you going to do
Yeah, I'm
it?
trying to do it. I've been trying to do it every day. Every day is like every day I have to go in and make myself write my list. That slows my whole day down.
Okay.
If I come in, because sometimes I come in and I see something and I start fixing stuff. I start working on stuff because a lot of the stuff is repetitive. But even if you do stuff the same thing every day, if I write it down, it just takes all the pressure off because I can go back to the list. I'm not going to forget everything because I thought through the day and I wrote it all down. And then while I'm doing that, I got to remember to relax and don't get caught up in anybody else's energy. You know what I mean? Because the customers come in, they want attention. The associates come in, they want attention. You know what I mean? They got questions. They being bothered by them, and to not pull all that energy in and then respond and react. You know what I mean?
And real quick before the next person goes, shout out to the cousin Diane who's tuned in. Shout out to something called Sunshine. Shout out to Sunshine. She said, talking about our previous topic, if it's forced, I think other parts of the relationship are lacking. You can have intimacy without sex. Definitely a great point. So go ahead. One of y'all brothers can go next.
So I had started to write a letter to my father, just going through some, some issues, and I kind of put the letter down, and I feel like I need to. Well, not I feel like I need to. I definitely need to, but I want to finish that letter. It's going to be, it's already like 2 pages long, but I feel like it's going to be maybe like 5 or 6 pages. And before I write it, it's like I want to get my thoughts together and then write it in a, kind of like a succinct way. I don't want to be, I think there's a very, very, it's a very, very, there's a tendency to kind of like emote too much and kind of get off topic. And I don't want to do that. I want to go in there and Phil, I know you know about this situation with my father. Like I still haven't finished that letter. Like I started it. I don't even remember when I told you is when I started it.
Yeah.
And I still only have like 2 pages. But yeah, that's something that
and again, we're cut off. Like, nah, like again, it's about shifting how we look at it, right? Like only 2 pages, like that's a heavy 2 pages.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if we look at it, frame it this way, like no matter how long it took to get those 2 pages out, like that's significant. You know what I mean? So it's not only.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to do that. That's what I want to. That's what a tangible thing I want to get knocked out is add some more pages. Maybe not finish, but get some more of my thoughts out.
So how about 1? Can you get 1 page done?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably when we get done, I could probably go and write 1 page.
All right,
because I already have some things in my head.
Yeah,
So
you could commit to getting 1 page done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
My commitment and the goal to myself was to be able to run 10 miles in one run. You know what I'm saying? So I'm around like between 4 and 5 right now. And I want to be able to get to that 10, just run out the door and just go. So I'm not gonna say I'm gonna commit to that by the next time that we meet, but maybe I'll be at, let's say 6, right? I want to be able to do 6.
Well, just so you say that, brother. Let me go to the phones.
Okay. Uh-oh. Am I gonna get it? You got something on me? Some dirt on me?
I mean, on Saturday I got 6. Either Saturday or Sunday I got 6 and it's actually 6.5. You know what I mean? So feel free. I do that every Sunday. So feel free to
cut. Where you running at? Where you running at?
Yeah, so I run with the white folk on West Kelly or MLK Drive.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What? What, you scared of the Rona, man? Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, for one,
yes. I'm all right.
Soon as you step foot, he was just at Giant. So if you could go to Giant, you could get the Rona. You could run outside. If you run in the streets, or you talking about a treadmill?
I'm not that guy that's like the coronavirus is going to get me, guy. Like I get it, right? No, I'm not.
Zane, I need I need 4 for me, my wife, and my daughter. So
no, the kids cool. The kids get healed in like a day or
in the
two.
black market. This is $100 plan.
Oh yeah, so that don't work. That's a black market joint. That joint. You need the N99 mask, right? Isn't that what it is?
And Nancy,
and
95.
Oh, N99. Listen,
N95. Yeah.
Everybody's a damn medical professional now.
Right.
That's another thing that came out of this. No, but how's the course? Is it a flat course or is it?
It's MLK Drive is straight, and we can talk about it afterwards. If you, definitely running the 6. You probably primed and ready for it. It's just now getting out and making it happen. But I was
gonna say if it's flat, I'm sure I can do it because like the course that I run is uphill, downhill, uphill, so it's kind of treacherous. But I'm just working on it. I'm committing to having 6 done for you guys in 1 run by the next time we meet. Okay. And keep it simple, no matter where it is.
You might as well set because I set a goal. I sent it to I don't know if you know Keenan or not. Keenan Muhammad.
I know
pressure.
Keenan.
Yeah. You feel the pressure?
But I
let the man do the 6 miles.
I'm with it. I know, right?
This is what we call this is called accountability. You know what I mean? It's called accountability.
It's called competing.
It's called accountability, man.
It's called competing.
Because listen, I like me and the homie Keenan, like we went out last Sunday. Like he finished maybe about. Listen, it was a slow day for me. And he like, yo, did you stop? I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep going. Like you run your pace, you run your race. We just out here together. I know you out here, So that makes me want to keep going, no matter what the pace is. But what I did was I set up just for myself because I was supposed to do the Broad Street Run May 5th, that 10 miler, but it's Father's Day, June 21st. I was like, you know what? I want to do 13.1 miles, which is the same as a half marathon. So I'm like, you know what? The morning of Father's Day, that's my gift to myself, right? Like working up towards that. So feel free to join in. You know what I mean? Something knock out and then start the day. So,
That's what it is. Just picking little things again to expand myself, in other areas. Like I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. Who knows? You know what I mean? So this is fun, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you having me on as usual. So.
Oh, no doubt. And so for me, it's just a matter of I want to start scheduling again using my my $40 my $40 scheduling book that I paid for.
He needs that, y'all.
Yeah, I had
yesterday.
I haven't. I had the Four Loko yesterday. That's why. But no, I think for the last 2 weeks I haven't used it, and I think that's impacted how I'm showing up in my day to day. I feel better when I have this schedule and just some things that I can accomplish and time frames and what have you. It's not too strict, right? It's not too constricting, but just knowing I have it. Instead of just going into the day like I have been for this last week and a half, where it's just like, all right, I think I'm going to do this, but I want to have some tangible, again, same thing I'm doing here, some tangible goals that I would like to accomplish. So my plan is to do that when I wake up tomorrow morning for the rest of the week, which ends on a Saturday. So real quick, Zane, so the book is out. You might have said it, Nobody Knows My Name. But yeah, so I'm reading that. Hard read, definitely a hard read, that first chapter. But it's good so far. So listen, man, I appreciate y'all all tuning in, coming through. No matter what time you showed up, definitely.
He just can't leave it alone.
Yeah. Let me.
I'm gonna hold my tongue.
Why is he muted?
Get offline.
You're muted.
Yeah, I got.
Phil, you muted.
Oh, my bad.
He's on.
I'm trying to mute everybody else's. So I could do my monologue real quick. No, I definitely appreciate you brothers tuning in. Means a lot. Again, we're gonna try to do this thing for you each and every Monday. Shout out to my mom who tuned in. She said, "Thanks for sharing such sincere thoughts, gentlemen. Appreciate you, Mom, for tuning in." Again, man, just hug on the ones that you love. Enjoy the time that you might have to yourself. In these days, who knows when this quarantine is ending. But again, at the end of it, you want to be able to say, at minimum, I survived. And hopefully afterwards you've learned so much more about yourself in the process. So you have been tuned into Rhetorically Speaking. We will catch you tomorrow. Peace. Hey, 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 hey.